Hey guys, it's me, Justin. Hope you've had a fabulous day so far. You may or may not this morning have received an email from me. I'm actually working with a new email provider. An email went out this morning that asked about what I could help you with personally right now. And that's in regards to questions like, please don't ask me to come do yard work or to do anything such as that because I have enough of my own. But the email, if you haven't got it yet, it should come to you later if you're subscribed to the Car Flips email newsletter. If you're not, get over to thecarflip.com. There should be a bar at the top, and that will put you on the list. And if you haven't been up there, you can email me at justin@thecarflip.com, and you can send me an email and ask your question. But again, that email went out earlier today, and I've had a few people respond already. This live video is in response to one of the questions that was asked, and I'll get to that in a minute. The question is, can you flip cars during a pandemic? Can you flip cars during the coronavirus or COVID-19? I feel fancier when I say COVID-19, but that's the question that this video is going to address. And before I get into that, I'll just give you a quick update on if you can flip cars during a pandemic, and the answer is definitely yes, because I sold a car today and I sold a car yesterday. The one that I sold today, I mentioned in a previous video that this one I had a deposit on. It was almost finalized today. The guy got approval on his loan, so this is one that has just officially sold. And then I have another one in the back I'll show you that sold yesterday, and that is this one. I'll turn my lights on in my shop back here. You can look past all the junk in my basketball shoes on top of the car. You can't see it. There is well, that's horrible. I'm trying to show you something, and there we go. There's this one here, which unfortunately the hood is up on. This is a 2007 Ford Explorer Sport Track. We were doing an oil change for the customer, and while it was on the lift, we noticed that it had a slight radiator leak, and I didn't want the customer to take it with the radiator leaking, so I told him we would replace it for him, which is actually what's in this box right here. So $100 radiator. My mechanic will probably charge, it's probably a two and a half hour job. So probably $80 to put that in for me. So 2 cars have sold. So theoretically, yes, you can sell a car during a pandemic because I did the last 2 days. But I'm gonna read his question and then we'll get to explaining why this is here. Let me get this out of the way. I'll explain why I think it's important to address this right now. This is actually here because I'm getting back to doing the Car Flip podcast. So I'm excited to be recording some of these, answering questions just like this, but a little easier maybe to digest on your favorite podcast player. So this question was, why buy a car now, no matter how cheap? If there's no buyers, what are you going to do? And I'm adding some words because his grammar wasn't the best. This is from Bad396. I don't have a name. So Bad396 says, if you don't have any buyers, what are you going to do? He says, I see prices dropping like a stone. Buy low, sell lower. No, question mark. So Bad396, first off, thanks for subscribing to the email list. I'm glad that you're here. You have some ideas, and you think that because prices are dropping that now is a bad time to buy. And just as an example, I'm going to turn my camera, well, let's see. I'll turn my camera around. The stock market right now is not in the best place that it's ever been. I talked about a couple days ago how I've been dabbling in the stock market. I'm not at all an expert, but prices are down low. So does that mean we shouldn't buy right now? And the answer is probably yes and no. There's reasons that the stock market is as low as it is, and maybe we have seen the bottom, maybe we haven't. But if I turn my camera around, now let me hide his email address first. There we go. So this is my stock portfolio as of right now, and you can see right here, we'll zoom in. Today, I made a grand total so far of $659.18. We're up 4.77%. Turn the camera back around. There's a lot of people that did way better than me today because they know more about how the stock market works. I'm just learning. It's a buyer's market to some extent, so I was able to make money and cash in on that. Car flipping is kind of the same way right now. Everything's on sale. people are still buying. Prices are still relatively strong, but there are some people that really need money, and you can swoop in and not take advantage of them, but put money in their pocket so they can maybe pay bills, pay their house payment, and you can get a good deal at the same time. The only negative side right now to flipping is if you're flipping cars you're wanting to buy cars you can buy and sell for under, say, $5,000 or $6,000. A lot of people just got cash in their pockets. I know I just got a check the other day from the government. I'm sure you may have received yours direct deposited. So there's a lot of people with cash in hand, which is not good for buying, but it's good for selling if you already have inventory. For me, so far since the pandemic has hit, and I guess when I really noticed things were getting serious, I had lunch at a restaurant, which is crazy now. Like, right, I actually ate it at a restaurant. Seems like it was a million years ago that we could actually do that. But let's see, I'm gonna go back in my list. What I'm looking at right now, this is a book. As a dealer, I can issue 30-day tags, and so this is just a record of some purchases that I can look at quickly that people have made. On March 12th, if I'm not mistaken, that was the day the NCAA tournament was canceled. I remember driving back from lunch and just being like, no way, that's crazy. But sold a minivan that day. A couple days later, I sold, what did I sell? This is a Chevrolet Traverse. Not much further after that, I sold a pickup truck, 2007 Chevrolet Silverado. Actually had 230,000 miles. It's a great truck though. I sold the Sport Track, and then the Jeep, the guy's picking up tomorrow. He's got the check, so that one is basically sold. I've got a deposit, so I feel really good about it. These are all cars that were sold during this pandemic, during this time of uncertainty. For me, my leads, people inquiring on cars, hasn't actually changed that much. I feel really good about the car sales market right now. And maybe that's because of the price range that I sell in. Maybe it's because a lot of the vehicles that I sell are under 10,000. But sales are still really strong, and this could change tomorrow. But I feel really good about the used car market right now. Maybe it's less competition, maybe because some dealers are closed. I don't know, but for me, sales have been really good. They've been very strong this month. For me, on every single one of these deals, just going back, the pickup truck was $2,000 easy. The minivan was a $2,000 profit plus. The Traverse, the same. The Sport Track in the back is $2,500 profit. The Wrangler outside is actually a little stronger profit. It was more in the $4,000 range. It's when I got a really good deal on the auction because it was a little rough around the edges. And, I did a lot of the work myself, so I didn't have a lot of expenses. I had to put new tires on it, but it was a very good profit. And so for me, not much changed from a sales standpoint. Sales are strong. So for me, going back to the email, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't understand maybe the mechanical nature of vehicles, if you're unsure about your abilities on that end, you could get yourself into trouble if you were to not buy properly. But if you understand how to buy, if you understand the buying process, now is a great time to buy. Now is a great time to be flipping vehicles. That's my personal opinion, but I'm also looking at my numbers and I'm looking at my bank account, and I'm seeing that things haven't changed from a month ago, even though it seems like everything's shut down. I'm fortunate to be, as a dealership, an essential business, but things have been really good. So that's my take on that question. As with all of the questions that I'm going to receive from people just like you from the email, I'm going to respond back to a lot of people with a video just like this. It might be on Facebook Live, it might be on YouTube, but to all the people that I respond to, I'm going to send a link directly to you with whatever answer, whether it's video or text, and I'll send it your way. If anyone has any questions, I haven't actually been looking to see if anyone posted any questions. If anyone has any questions live right now, I'd be more than glad to answer them. This video will also be reposted on YouTube, so if you're watching on YouTube and you have a question, feel free to post it in the comments below. Folks on Facebook watching later can do the same. Post them below. If you are on YouTube watching this later on, what's up, Anthony? Hope you're doing well. If you're watching this later on YouTube, definitely subscribe and like this channel. Hit the little bell up there because that helps with the distribution of these videos. So I'm excited to get back going with the fancy podcast equipment. We'll be doing some of these later. Also, if you've watched this far in the video, if you're in the Facebook group, who would you like to hear from in the group? And maybe they'd be interested in doing it, and maybe they wouldn't. I think it'd be really cool to interview some people from this group that are a little bit further ahead than some others. So I think it'd be awesome to have some podcast interviews with people in our group that are constantly helping other people. If you've watched this far and there's someone that you think that would be an awesome person to hear more about and more from, tag them below in the Facebook video or the Facebook feed, and I'd be glad to maybe contact them to see if they'd be interested. So, a question from Anthony in the Facebook group. He says, do you think it's wise for people and I can't read, so I'm going to try this again. Do you think it's wise for people who flip cars as a side gig without a lot to still buy cars? Now, that's definitely different. That business is the same, and it's different from what I do. He continues to say, I'm very skeptical to buy cars to flip. I feel like people are at a standstill and sales are slow. Sales are slow. Anthony, I completely get where you're at. I completely understand where you're coming from on that. I'm just looking at my sales, and I'm looking at the amount of interest that I'm having in the cars that I have for sale, and I'm comparing it to last month. Now, it's probably not as good as it would have been with what we should be having right now, which is tax time, which is the peak season for car sales, like ever, for car dealers, car flippers, whoever you are. Now should be our strongest time. And it's not quite that, but it's still really strong. One thing from a flipping standpoint that, if DMVs decide not to, or if they decide to close, at least in North Carolina, DMVs are still open. From a dealer and from an individual flipper, that could pose a little bit of a headache. But I see this being a good opportunity to buy. I see it being a time where a lot of people have taken a step back. A lot of your competition, a lot of your fellow flippers feel the exact same way that you do. A lot of car dealers feel the exact same way. But there are people that have cash in their hand literally right now, and they need a vehicle, and they're sitting at home and they're bored and they don't have anything else to do, and they're scrolling through Facebook Marketplace looking for vehicles. That's just my opinion. You could rewatch this video in a month and be like, wow, he was really wrong. And I could do the same and think, what was I thinking? But I'm looking at my numbers right now, and I'm comparing them with what I expected it to be. Like if I go back to that March 12th sale, when I was driving back and I heard that March Madness had been canceled, which is like a big deal, right? I'm thinking, wow, I really need to sell this car. I need to do whatever I can to make this sale happen, because I don't know when my next sale's going to be. I don't know if I'm going to sell anything for the next month. In my head, I'm going through worst case scenarios, and I'm thinking, well, can I pay my lot rent? Am I going to be able to pay my insurance? Can I pay my house payment? And it hasn't been that worst case scenario. It's been a good month so far. Maybe that's a fluke. I don't know. I've changed up a little bit of my marketing. I mentioned in the last live video on Facebook, I've changed a little bit with what I do with Facebook ads. So I know some interest that I'm having is from that, and my leads are very cheap as of right now. So maybe that's helping, but sales have been strong. I have not had a drop off in that at all. Mike asks, are the stimulus paychecks helping? I don't know exactly yet, because I know mine just hit yesterday morning. Actually, it was so busy. There were so many people trying to check the bank account with the bank that I deal with that actually crashed the servers. The bank had to go offline and say, we'll be back later. People definitely have the money. I haven't had a huge rush with people inquiring. Actually, one guy, I just now clicked that might be why he called today. I had a guy call about a 2010 Ford Escape that I have. He was calling from Facebook Marketplace. It's a $5,000 vehicle. It's $4,900. He actually was talking about having $2,500 cash in hand. So that actually makes sense, because if he's married, him and his wife would have received $1,200 each. So that makes perfect sense. He was actually looking to potentially finance the rest with a lender that he deals with. So maybe that was my first inquiry from someone that actually had that cash. But it's out there. It's in people's bank accounts. Everyone that had the idea they were going to buy a car this time of year, and maybe some of that tax money is being used for other purposes, definitely could be funneling this money towards that purchase. So a question from, and man, I hope I pronounced this right. I'm going to butcher this. Q. I'm gonna say Quecu. It says, hi Justin, any suggestions on how to market the cars besides Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist? I actually don't do a lot with Craigslist anymore. Some people in this group swear by it. Some people are doing great with it. Some people in some other groups that I'm in, some dealer groups, are still doing great with it. It might depend on where you are in the country, but I just haven't had a lot of good luck with it. For me, as a dealer, I have just started using CarGurus about 6 months ago. Actually had a 6-month commitment, and I wasn't so sure if I wanted to make the dive to spend. For me, it was just under $500. I didn't know if I wanted to spend that much, but it's been working really well. And you are able to advertise there as an individual. Right now, CarGurus, if I understand correctly, has actually shut down the personal side. So if you have a vehicle posted for free with a free listing, if I understand correctly, you're not able to do that. They've taken all those listings down in favor of their paying customers, someone like me. So maybe that's helped with the interest that I've had, because maybe there's less things posted and maybe I'm getting more interest. But CarGurus has been great for me. You'll hear differing opinions on that as well. Some people love it, some people hate it, but it's been really good for me. Letgo and OfferUp are some places that I've posted in the past. I've not done as much with them here recently, but I've made sales in the past and I probably should be listed up there currently. I've just been doing more with the Facebook ads and the Facebook Marketplace. That the work involved in the Letgo and the OfferUp, for me, when I posted on OfferUp and Letgo, I would repost it every couple of days. So I would delete the listing, repost, because then it would shoot it back up to the top of the listings. If you get too far down, I just didn't seem like I was getting that much interest, and so I haven't been using that as much, but definitely worth trying. Facebook groups are still a place where I get a little bit of traction, not that much. I actually haven't posted there as much as I used to. I've automated some things on my end. Used to, I was posting every single listing directly from my phone, like from me, like everything came directly from me. I've purchased some software. As a dealer, I can use a site called carsforsale.com. There's several different services. Dealer Center's one. The other ones are slipping my mind. But as a dealer, I use that for my website, and they also throw the vehicles directly to Facebook Marketplace. So that's my opinion on that. I'm about to cough, so worst time ever to have allergies, right? I don't know if I'm going to die from the coronavirus or if I have seasonal allergies, which so far just allergies. Another question, a follow-up, it says, and would you recommend advertising in the local newspaper? The newspaper is a place that I used to advertise. I'm going to get a sip of water here. Used to be big time for a lot of people. I've not advertised in a newspaper for probably 10 years. Once Craigslist came around, for me, the bang for your buck was just so ridiculously heavy towards Craigslist when there was that competition that I went full online. And then there was the competition between like Craigslist and Facebook groups. And so I went heavy in the Facebook groups. And then it was Facebook groups versus Facebook Marketplace. And now I'm really heavy on the Facebook Marketplace. So for me, that's where I lean. Facebook or Craigslist now, you have to pay $5 for every single listing. And so for me, that was less attractive given the lack of interest that I seem to have had. So I got a question. I'm going to click on it from Andrew. It says, everyone's still asking top dollar in the private party sector. I've definitely seen that. I am constantly scanning Marketplace for particular vehicles. I don't buy as much from private party sales as I used to. Most things, if I'm buying anything from a private party now, is a Jeep Wrangler, because that's one of my things that I enjoy. But it says, in my opinion, if you had a car prior to stimulus, it went quick, but now's the time to take. That takes a bit longer to find a good flip private party wise. Andrew, I couldn't agree more. Now is definitely more difficult than the pre-stimulus money, because the more people that have cash, the more competition there is. Your offer that someone could have fought on for a day or two, now that deal might be gone within hours. So if you're serious on something, negotiate strongly, firmly. One of my go-to script for me is any way you can take whatever the amount you want to offer for the whatever cash today. If they say no, I am kind. I say, well, thanks anyway. I wish I had more to spend. If anything changes, let me know. Then the next morning or the next day, I'm going to follow up on that and see if anything's changed. So that tactic doesn't work as well when there's a ton of competition. Says Andrew continues, says, don't get me wrong, you can still find a good deal with somebody who needs the cash, but you got to jump on it. Definitely. Like that's the name of the game. Understanding a good deal and being able to pull the trigger. Today, just for example, like in the stock market, again, not a savvy investor at all, but I saw some folks talking about a certain stock and it jumped ridiculously. I jumped on it really quick because I felt good about it, and I made it was really small, I made like $100, but I thought it was a good deal. I jumped on it. I had second thoughts a little bit, but I stuck with it and I made a little bit of money. Usually, if you understand the market, your gut normally is the way to go. Go with your gut, and a lot of times that's going to steer you in the right direction. Chris says some people just love to hear themselves talk. Yes, I do. No, I'm just kidding. Not one that loves to hear myself talk. Honestly, when I have to listen to edit, like when you have to edit these videos, like it's like the most, anyway, it's the most frustrating thing ever because you're like, do I really sound like that? Like, is that what my voice sounds like? And so there's that. But thank you for your comment, Chris. It's very well noted. So that is all I have for this video. If you have any questions, please post them below. No problem, Andrew. Anything I can help you with, feel free to ask. I'm going to jump off. I got to get home. I got to go pick up some mulch for my yard from Lowe's. So very exciting things ahead for me. You guys have a great rest of the night, and I will see you in the next video.